Now what will it be? Death or exile?
Hello and welcome to another Exile film review. This go-round I'll be talking about Emma starring Anya Taylor-Joy, a film that I had mentioned on our top 10 most anticipated films of 2020 podcast that I did with Chris and Lupe. There's a link in the description if you'd like to give it a listen. Emma is the latest adaptation of Jane Austen's famous novel set in the Gregorian Regency era, and like Shakespeare, the quality of Austen's work lends itself well to continuous adaptation because human nature and the human heart never change. Here, Autumn de Wilde, who has a long professional history in photography, music videos, and commercials, makes her feature-length film debut with Emma. So Emma is about a wealthy young woman who spends her time making other people's love lives her pet projects. She's surrounded by fortune and flattery, but lacks the mother who would guide her socially and must therefore learn her lessons the hard way by experience. Moreover, will she find love herself? Now, I wasn't always a fan of Austen. I had described previous adaptations of any of her work as a bunch of talking over here, then talking over there, and nothing much happens, boom, wedding. But since then, and after reading a couple of her works, I've come to appreciate the social commentary and internal transformations that are the focus of her writing. That's where the action takes place. So with that in mind, what first gripped me from the trailer about this film was the wildly whimsical and light take on the story, best evidenced by Bill Nighy, who plays Mr. Woodhouse, Emma's elderly, doting single father. There was just something delightful about it, and I wanted to experience more. Now, while this is a period piece set in 1815, nothing about this film feels old or antique. Everything looks fresh and new and young and beautiful. Autumn de Wilde's attention to everything in the costuming and set design was meticulously researched, and the result is stunning. Everyone is shot beautifully and everything just looks beautiful and delicious. I'll be rewatching this film just to really take it all in. As far as performances, Anya Taylor-Joy delivers a fresh and relatable performance as Emma. You see subtleties in her facial expressions and behavior that reveal her negative traits, but aren't so over the top that you hate her. As this year in her life progresses, we get to see this princess, so to speak, crack, be awkward, humble herself, and more importantly, change. Very refreshing. Anya is really well cast and did a wonderful job. Opposite her, Mr. George Knightley is played by Johnny Flynn, who is of her social class and a kind of boy next door, and is virtually the only person who doesn't flatter or spoil Emma, but calls her out on her attitudes and behavior. One of the things I adore about this film was the highlighting of the little quirks and idiosyncrasies of many of the characters in Emma's small world. Miranda Hart as the chatty and perhaps not very fascinating but sweet Miss Bates, Mia Goth as Harriet Smith, who worships the ground Emma walks on, and Bill Nighy as her very anxious father. These are the little things that can get annoying, but when there are good hearts behind them, can become so endearing. I'll admit that a couple performances, while played for comedic effect, were less overall believable to me, and I'm referring specifically to the young pastor character of Sir Elton, but I think that we're supposed to see him as ridiculous and that this is part of the satire. Much of the music and the score mirrors the same whimsical, awkward, lovely tone of the film. I love that many of the choices surprised me. You have this beautiful classical type score, a lovely waltz, paired with more folk-style hymns and singing. And after thinking about it, this really reflects the juxtaposition of so many opposites in the elements of the story. Youth with its beauty and its awkwardness, wealth with its loveliness and trappings, small town with its intimacy and frustrations, and love with its grandness and its feeling of home. I heartily recommend a dose of Emma with the prim and proper manners of the day and all the delicious whimsy to go with it. I thought I didn't love this film as much as I did Little Women, but the more that I talk about it, I can't wait to see it again. If you enjoyed this review, you might also want to check out my mini spoiler review of Little Women, link also in the description. On behalf of all the Exiles, we appreciate every like and subscribe. Thank you for listening, and until next time, stay exiled.